And I can say the same thing that Hillary Clinton says about her election that she lost. I can say the same thing about the DNC who said it about the 2016 race. I can say the same thing about those in the Democratic Party from the leadership on down about George Bush not winning, that Al Gore did. But were any of them prosecuted? Were any of them put in jail?
Hillary Clinton never challenged the results of the 2016 election. In fact, she gave a concession speech the next morning, saying she hoped the next morning, she hoped Trump would be a successful president for all Americans. In fact, the failure to secure a peaceful transition of power has happened twice in American history. The first in 1860, when the election of Abraham Lincoln freaked out southern states and they seceded and formed the Confederacy. The second in 2020 with Donald Trump. That's only 2 times, Kevin.
Got him.
Our constitutional democracy enshrines the peaceful transfer of power.
We fight like hell, and if you don't fight like hell, you're not going to have a country anymore.
As expected, attempts to spin Trump's indictment have reached Olympic gold status. From the likes of, well, he didn't know he was breaking the law.
Now, I know this doesn't count in a court of law, but do you think Trump had any idea that he was breaking the law when he was asking Mike Pence not to certify? And how are you going to prove that Trump knew there wasn't any election fraud? And how are you going to prove that these were corrupt intentions if Trump thought he was doing the righteous thing? You can't. It was just politics. It's all politics.
He still thinks that he's president.
Which everybody that knows Donald Trump and has read his truths know, he still believes the election was stolen. And he has good cause to believe so.
You can't disagree with the fact that he knew that he had lost the election because everyone in Christendom...
You're going to try to say that Donald Trump knew he lost. There's no way. They're going to try to prove that in court, Jessica. There's no way he's going to be proven that he knew he lost. He still thinks he's president.
Well, then the insanity defense is available.
And of course, what about Hillary?
He's being indicted for saying the election was stolen. You know who else said the election was stolen? Hillary Clinton said the election was stolen. And then everybody parroted her talking points. Stacey Abrams said her election was stolen as running for governor here in Georgia. And then everybody parroted her talking points.
And I can say the same thing that Hillary Clinton says about her election that she lost. I can say the same thing about the DNC who said it about the 2016 race. I can say the same thing about those in the Democratic Party from the leadership on down about George Bush not winning, that Al Gore did.
But Morning Joe hosts took issue with that last one, as most of America should, considering it's a bold-faced lie. Barbara and Mika Brzezinski dedicated an entire segment reminding viewers
Hillary Clinton never challenged the results of the 2016 election. In fact, she gave a concession speech the next morning.
But this, of course, matters not to the party of lock her up.
Saying she hoped the next morning, she hoped Trump would be a successful president for all Americans. In fact, the failure to secure a peaceful transition of power has happened twice in American history. The first in 1860, when the election of Abraham Lincoln freaked out southern states and they seceded and formed the Confederacy. The second in 2020 with Donald Trump. That's only 2 times, Kevin. It happened. Take a look.
One of the great features of America is that we have political contests, that they are very hard fought, as this one is hard fought. And once the decision is made, we unite behind the man who is elected.
This is a fraud on the American public. This is an embarrassment to our country.
I have no bitterness, no rancor at all. I say to the president, as a fellow politician, that he did a wonderful job.
We were getting ready to win this election. Frankly, we did win this election.
I have lost. Mr. Nixon has won. The democratic process has worked its will. So now let's get on with the urgent task of uniting our country.
This is a very big moment. This is a major fraud in our nation. We want the law to be used in a proper manner.
Congratulations on your victory. I hope that in the next 4 years, you will lead us to a time of peace abroad and justice at home. You have my full support in such efforts.
We'll be going to the U.S. Supreme Court. We want all voting to stop. We don't want them to find any ballots at 4 o'clock in the morning and add them to the list.
The president asked me to tell you that he telephoned President-elect Carter a short time ago and congratulated him on his victory.
It's a very sad moment. To me, this is a very sad moment, and we will win this, and as far as I'm concerned, we already have won it.
The people of the United States have made their choice, and of course I accept that decision.
If you count the legal votes, I easily win.
He has won. We are all Americans. He is our president, and we honor him tonight.
If you count the illegal votes, they can try to steal the election from us.
He will be our president, and we'll work with him. This nation faces major challenges ahead, and we must work together.
As everybody saw, we won by historic numbers.
There is important work to be done, and America must always come first. So we will get behind this new president and wish him well.
Democrat officials never believed they could win this election honestly. I really believe that. That's why they did the mail-in ballots, where there's tremendous corruption and fraud.
I have said repeatedly in this campaign that the president is my opponent, not my enemy, and I wish him well, and I pledge my support.
I've had 2 elections. I won both of them. It's amazing. And I actually did much better on the second one.
This is America. Just as we fight hard when the stakes are high, we close ranks and come together when the contest is done.
That was a rigged election, but we're still fighting it, and you'll see what's going to happen.
But in an American election, there are no losers, because whether or not our candidates are successful, the next morning we all wake up as Americans.
We will never give up. We will never concede. It doesn't happen. You don't concede when there's theft involved.
Whatever our differences, we are fellow Americans. And please believe me when I say no association has ever meant more to me than that.
And to use a favorite term that all of you people really came up with, we will stop the steal.
I so wish that I had been able to fulfill your hopes to lead the country in a different direction, but the nation chose another leader, and so Ann and I join with you to earnestly pray for him and for this great nation.
When you catch somebody in a fraud, you're allowed to go by very different rules. So I hope Mike has the courage to do what he has to do.
Donald Trump is going to be our president. We owe him an open mind and the chance to lead. Our constitutional democracy enshrines the peaceful transfer of power. And we don't just respect that, we cherish it.
And we fight. We fight like hell. And if you don't fight like hell, you're not going to have a country anymore.
With the hopes that their loyal following will just swallow the BS, MAGA Republicans are trying to spin the indictment as if he was just saying that the election was stolen but wasn't actually doing anything about it. And are trying to equate that to some things that Hillary Clinton has said. But as anyone who has read the indictment understands, it is what Trump did.
I was clear on that throughout. I was clear with President Trump throughout all the way up to the morning of January 6th. But let's be clear on this point. It wasn't just that they asked for a pause. The president specifically asked me, and his gaggle of crackpot lawyers asked me to literally reject votes, which would have resulted in the issue being turned over to the House of Representatives, and literally chaos would have ensued.
But as a legal matter, I don't see a problem with the indictment. I think that it's not an abuse. The Department of Justice is not acting to weaponize the department by proceeding against the president for a conspiracy to subvert the electoral process.
Which is what
Trump's attorneys are saying, and they're also saying that he was just exercising his First Amendment right here. Do you think that's a valid argument in your view?
No, I really don't think that's a valid argument because, as the indictment says, they're not attacking his First Amendment right. He can say whatever he wants. He can even lie. He can even tell people that the election was stolen when he knew better. But that does not protect you from entering into a conspiracy. All conspiracies involve speech, and all fraud involves speech. So, free speech doesn't give you the right to engage in a fraudulent conspiracy.
And the ironic thing is the sheer righteousness that exudes from Republicans as they preach law and order and how we all need to tuck the Constitution in at night, while simultaneously supporting a man who sought to tear apart the very fabric of that institution. It's so on par for the party of lip service. What they stand for versus how they stand for it.
Hey Meidas Mighty, love this report? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram @MeidasTouch to keep up with the most important news of the day. What are you waiting for? Follow us now.